I'm Steve, keeping it simple. We're still in Revelation 13, and we're talking about the beast that comes out from the sea. And I've drawn the conclusions that many of us Christians are all we're always waiting. I see many Christians on TikTok. They're always waiting for the temple's got to be built. This has got to be done. This has got to be done, and then Jesus will come. I believe it's happening all around us as we speak right now. I touched base in the beginning of this teaching about the apocalypse that I believe we're in the revealing right now, the beginning steps of that, the white horse. With the things, see, we're being revealed. It's right before our eyes. You could take what I'm saying to you as a revelation. Not that I'm anybody, not anything. I worship Jesus. I sit at his feet, and I listen to his word. That's as Mary did, right? She picked the better part. So that's where we have to be to understand what the book of Revelation is about. You got to be sitting at his feet and listening to his word. Now, when I was thinking about this today, it was like really, it came like a wave, and it was about it was really about the BRICS, and today was their first day. All the new nations, the 5 new nations, joined on. So now you have 10 nations, and they all hate the harlot. All those nations hate the harlot, meaning the United States being the harlot, and they want to toss her off, and they're going to burn her, and they're going to pillage her, burn her, and burn her with fire. That's what God has put it in their heart to do. And if you don't see that in these nations, these 10 nations, they all hate the harlot. They all hate the United States. Because the United States has been a power in the world. It's money, everything, its power has dominated the world for the last 30 years, since the Soviet Union fell. They've been the most dominant nation on the planet. They've sat on the world. As we see in Revelation 17, the harlot sits on the beast. She controls it. When you sit on something, and that's what I always teach about. When you read, and I want you to read these scriptures. Read it for yourself. Read chapter 17. It talks about the harlot. Many people believe it's one beast. No, it's 2 separate entities, meaning that the beast that she's riding on, the 10 horns, the 7 heads, she sits on it. She controls it. When you sit on something, when you sit on a horse, you control it. So they're breaking the binds of her control, and we see that now. Many things that we are experiencing right now, the inflation, all the things that are happening, is the de-dollarization of the world. They're tossing her off. More proof that what we're seeing is what the Bible is talking about. It's right in front of our eyes. It's just putting the puzzle pieces together. That's the most important thing. It's lifting up Jesus, understanding it's about his kingdom, not to be afraid of this, and it's nothing to be afraid of. It's amazing, really, when you dive into it and it starts to come together. It really is amazing. And you have to open up your heart. You have to open up your mind. And it does kind of like looking at the things that are going on. You have to kind of, put them together. Many times in the past, I'll be straight up, in the Middle Ages, everybody thought the harlot and the beast were the Catholic Church, the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. If I lived in the 1500s, I probably would have said the same thing. But I live now, and I'm seeing those attributes in only one nation. That's the one we live in. The attributes in Revelation 17 and 18. There's only here. There's no other nation that has those attributes, who sits on the world, who controls all finances on the world. All the banking, everything goes through the United States. Everything's done with dollars. And you see the world getting off of that. We're going to get at that tomorrow. But read this for yourself. Read and understand it. And we see a part that comes up, and it talks about it. Let me read that first before I because the scripture is the most important thing. Okay? I could have my opinion. I could see things that I think God is showing me. But the scriptures really speak to you. That's what they have to speak to you. They have to speak to your heart. And you have to let Jesus reveal it to us. That's the whole thing. He's the spirit of prophecy. It's about him. Once you put that first, like I said, everything falls into line. So let's go into this. Then the dragon gave him power, his throne, and great authority. And I saw one of the heads as if it had been mortally wounded. So when you see head, it is not talking about a person. Many Christians read this and think it's about the Antichrist. He's going to be wounded. No. Read Daniel, read what the heads mean, and read what the horns mean. I explained that in yesterday's teaching. The heads are nations. The horns are kings. So there you go. We got heads here. The head. So it means a nation's going to be wounded. Okay. Now there's a little more. If you read into that, one of the heads in Daniel, three of the horns are plucked up. So it kind of gives you a little detail of three horns, three kings are going to be plucked up, and the Antichrist is going to come up among them, the little horn, and he's going to scream. He's going to talk great blasphemies against God. So I believe that's in Europe. It's going to happen in Europe. It's the European Union, the NWO, that eventually, when all these things happen, when the United States is put out of the way, that a leader is going to come up from the European Union, and he is going to be the Antichrist. We're getting into Revelation 17 and the bricks next. God bless.